Let me tell you, as a government, we've had to strike a very delicate balance. Delicate balance in as for a long time, our planning was short-term. You plan to do things for an election. But we took a step back and said, there are things that will not benefit us in this election, but they are important for the ultimate transformation of our country. And so we had to balance. You know, we've had to invest, for example, in the SGR and in almost 8,000 kilometers of road and a huge extension on our electricity project. Why are we doing that? They may not give us results. In fact, many young people ask themselves, what is the relationship between me as a graduate from university? What is the relationship between me and the standard gauge railway? Why is the government putting money in the standard gauge railway? Because the results would not be seen today. But unless and until we do the heavy lifting, at some stage, we need to invest seriously in infrastructure if we have to actualize the transformation of our country. And we decided, under the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta, that we are going to do things for the short term, but we are also going to do things for the long term. Things that haven't been done because nobody wanted to invest huge resources in those projects, and yet you cannot talk about transforming Kenya unless you have, number one, infrastructure. Number two, energy. Number three, proper skills and competencies in our human capital. And that is why we are focused on those three, because ultimately, and this is why we need a conversation. That is why our young people need to understand that ultimately the SGR, the roads, the energy will facilitate the industrialization of Kenya. And that is where the jobs will be created. That is how we can turn what we have locally into wealth through value addition and manufacturing and exports. That is where ultimately the Jubilee administration wants to take the country. And for us to be able to invest in industrialization, for us to be able to do value addition and manufacturing, the railway is a critical component. All the roads are critical components. Energy distribution is a critical component. And the men and women with the skills and competencies from our TTIs and universities are a necessary component for us to transform Kenya. Sometimes you hear our competitors talk about creating jobs for our young people. And you ask them, what is the plan? You know, you can't arrive at jobs. There must be a plan. And I want to say here, without fear of any contradiction, under the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta, we, the Jubilee, have a plan. And the people of Kenya, and especially the young people of Kenya, can trust us with their future.
When you talk about people saying they have concerns that we have borrowed more than our country can handle, I think what we need to do is put our borrowing also in context. You cannot, not an individual, not a country, grow unless you have access to resources. And in most cases, including our good friends here, they are who they are because they managed to access borrowing.
Right.
All right? That's why they're where they are. Right? That's why they are where they are. So to those who say that we are over borrowing, I tell them the only reason you should be concerned about the level of borrowing is if that borrowing was being used and utilized for consumption or for recurrent expenditure. But if that borrowing was going to investment, such as the rail, such as our roads, water and health, things that are going to have a positive impact on the country as a whole in future and enable our overall economy to grow even further, I don't think we should be concerned as a country. So yes, we're not going to run away from the fact that we're borrowing. But the question is, are we borrowing for investment or are we borrowing for consumption? As a government and as a responsible government, we are borrowing for investment in order to create growth in future and thereafter create opportunity and jobs, as William has said.